Hey everybody, it's time for another update on the St. Paul Sioux line layout that I'm building. A lot's happened in the past 2 months. 2 months ago I did a video update and the room was mostly empty. The two Fremo yards were on their legs, but there wasn't a whole lot else built at that point, and things certainly changed. Let me walk you around. Before I go any further, I want to thank some guys who have given me some help in a couple days in the past 2 months. Tom Crisfield, Joe Binish, Phil Keppers, and James Schultz have all participated in the building of the benchwork and roadbed that I'm going to show you today. We're going to start with that helix behind me. Well, I'll walk around the helix and tell you a little bit about it. I did a post about this helix in the early days of this St. Paul Sioux line group, so if you search the group for helix, you'll see more about it. The construction method here is a brainchild of my good friend Guy Tonder, who was able to provide these CNC machined hardboard or masonite arcs that I'll show you up close in a moment. Basically constructed by gluing 2 layers of these arcs together and holding the whole thing together by steel rods. And then I used commercial snap track, which has 28 3/4 inch radius, which provides really perfect track work through here. This is a smaller version of what I had on my original layout. Basically just chopped the original helix into 2 pieces. And so I have 2 turns of this helix left over and nothing to do with it, and more of these masonite arcs. Here's a masonite arc. And anybody's interested in acquiring these leftover pieces, just let me know. So basically what's happening here operationally is Cardigan Junction will be in the upper level, and there's like a 5-mile run from Cardigan Junction in the prototype, 5-mile prototype run from Cardigan Junction down to 7th Street Yard, and my lower level represents that run. The first part of the run, there wasn't a whole lot going operationally or scenic-wise, and so that's folded up into this helix, which allows me to lose the elevation I need to get to the rest of the lower level, which is here, and I'll tell you about that next. Once we exit the helix here on the bottom level, the lower level, we proceed into this now empty piece of benchwork where there will be a single industry. It'll be the St. Paul Waterworks, which was on this line and received diverse shipments, actually, of different kinds of chemicals and other things. The waterworks will hang off of this edge back here behind the benchwork, which is built. But basically this piece of benchwork will house the waterworks scene. And then we've started this roadbed. This is where Parkway Junction will be located. Let me move some stuff, you can see it better. There's the Parkway Junction switch. And at Parkway Junction, the Sioux diverged into two runs. An upper run that went up, and that's the one in front, and a lower run that went down, and that's in back. So Parkway Junction, the Sioux divided into 2, basically. The lower back line is the one which was originally built and tied into the Northern Pacific at Sioux Line Junction, and that's what you see there in the distance. While this upper line that's in the foreground went over a truss bridge right there at Sioux Line Junction, and there's a little chunk of plywood that kind of looks like a truss bridge, doesn't it? And then from that upper line truss bridge, none of this is in yet. It will go around the end of the blob end of the peninsula and proceed into Jessamine Yard, which is all going to be here. It's partly framed out. That'll all be flat plywood and homosote when I get to that point. The lower line that I talked about coming off the NP, that's going into the staging yard, which is built, it's Fremo. And 2 passenger trains and 1 scheduled freight train would come out of Trout Brook in a day and proceed up the St. Paul line. So Jessamine Yard is a pretty cool little spot. Has a operating track scale. Leaving Jessamine in the back here where that clamp is holding on that chunk of homosote spline. This continues to be the Sioux Main, heading compass south, And then at this point, we enter a tunnel going under Williams Hill, which is also sometimes referred to as Bunker Hill. There I zoomed out a little bit. And you see the tunnel portal left over from my last layout. It needs a little TLC. The deck bridge over the top of that is the Omaha line where the Sioux interchange with the Omaha, so we'll include that as well. This is in the tunnel going under Westminster Junction on the GN, and then the Sioux reemerges Compass South at this tunnel portal, and that was right at the entrance to 7th Street Yard. So that's what I've got for you now. And maybe I'll try to keep doing updates about it, video updates about every 2 months, and put occasional posts in between. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.